It has been more than 30 years since the Fourth Republic began. Government after government have made the attempt to better the lives of Ghanaians and keep the country together. When citizens voted the NPP into office, they promised to improve lives, protect the public purse, and unite the country. However, allegations of corruption that have emerged over the last few years have left many concerned. In this edition of Hot Issues, we analyze key controversial issues at the GMPC. I am Kemini Amano, and today I sit with the board chair of GMPC about happenings under his watch. He's also three-time MP and a political colossus of the NPP, which gives us the chance to discuss the legislature and issues about the governing party. My guest on Hot Issues is Freddie Blay. Thanks for sitting with us on Hot Issues.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, I want you to hear this. Over the years, we have become poorer as a nation and as a people, mainly due to pervasive corruption, particularly in the public sector. That's former EC chairperson, Dr. Afari-Gyan. Over 3 decades after the 1992 Constitution, we're still talking about pervasive corruption. What do you think could be the cause?
Well, in the first place, that's what Afari-Gyan has said. Perversion is a canker which... Corruption is a canker that we all must fight against. But I disagree with him that over the years we become poorer. This country has not gone poorer. Indeed, we are not rich, but we are edging towards being a middle-income country among the Community of Nations. So in the first place, maybe it's wrong to say that this country has become poorer. Definitely not poorer. We've not become rich like the Singaporeans.
Right.
We've not become rich like the South Koreans or some other countries that you can mention.
Right. So we haven't become poorer. What have we become over the years? Because, as you rightly said, we haven't become rich either. Poverty is still pervasive.
Poverty is pervasive.
You know, at the bottom of the pyramid where most of us are.
That's very rich indeed. When I'm looking at you, you are looking at me, and you are saying that most of you are. I don't believe you, sitting here, you are among the poorest of this country. But be it as it may.
Fair enough. But you would also not deny that at the bottom of the pyramid, where a lot of poor people are, it's bigger than, you know, those at the top of the pyramid.
It's always been the case. Maybe except China, that is reducing poverty to the extent that it's moving up. But I can't think of any other country, unless maybe you have evidence to the contrary, that people have become richer than, in terms of numbers, the poor people. But I agree that poverty is not a very good thing for every country. That's, I believe, why leadership and governance is all about, to reduce poverty, increase the quality of life of the people in every community.
We are not poorer.
In the society.
We are not richer. What are we?
We are moving on, and we could do better, agreed. But we should not raise our hands up in frustration and saying that we are rather crawling back. I don't believe in that. That all over the world, I believe people are not, I can't argue that people in all over the world are becoming poorer than maybe making ends meet.
Ghana was considered one of the most expensive countries to live in. Right now, we have our hands behind our back.
No, some people say so.
Hoping to get a second tranche of IMF funds. It doesn't show that we have made the kind of progress you're talking about.
I believe you've mixed the issues.
I have.
And therefore, it makes it difficult for us to have the kind of conversation that I will be making a very good contribution to. And let's your audience.
All right, so let's separate the issues.
Let's separate the issues.
Do that, let's hear you.
You asked that we've gone to see the IMF. Definitely, we have challenges, like many other countries, particularly in Africa, are having, and particularly those who are doing well, like Kenya, like Ethiopia, and Ghana, Tanzania, and even Ivory Coast, that Nigeria, all other countries have won. And that is to help us manage our economy, to help us to such a way that the difficulties that our countries are going through will not, the impact will not be such that the ordinary people that you've mentioned will feel it too much. And that's why we have joined the IMF. We've come to them to ask for some assistance to ensure that the developing partners will have confidence in our country.
But what do you think? Three
decades
decades after the, in fact, more than 3 decades now,
yes.
after the 1992.
It's not the first time that Ghana
1992 constitution. Hang on.
Yeah,
we know. It's been about 17 at least.
About
in the
17
least.
times.
Yes.
But that
is it not disturbing that after 30 years of the Fourth Republic, we continue to go to the IMF?
We cooperate with the IMF. No, it's not a question of cap in hand.
It is always cap in hand. It is not because we want them to realign.
When you go to see a bank for whatever objective, for whatever you are doing, it's not aid. You've gone down that I have a program and need a certain assistance to help me achieve what I want to achieve. I will pay back. It doesn't mean we've gone cap in hand. We are part of IMF. We are partners. And when we need any assistance, we go there. They don't dole it out just like that. At the end of the day, you will have to pay. You will meet conditions, and you continue developing your country. You continue your programs that you set up yourself. Instead of, for example, you have free education. Instead of abandoning it, say, I will continue to have free education, but I will have to pay for health, education, for all that things, and therefore I need
so Chairman, what I'm
pointing to IMF and for that matter, capping up, I say you are mixing the issues, and therefore you are missing the point.
What I'm pointing to, and hopefully I haven't missed the point on this.
What
I'm pointing to is that 17 times, it's a lot, too many times returning to the IMF. It means that we have not learned our lessons as a people. We keep going back with the same problems.
Not with the same
the least similar problems.
Well, if you may call it similar problem, that you should, one day or the other, you may need some help here and there. As I say, you go to your bank. If you go to your bank with similar problems, not exactly the same problem, the bank will be fed up.
Shouldn't we be learning lessons? That's all I'm saying. Shouldn't we be learning concrete lessons that will translate into the fact that we go to the IMF less?
I am at a loss as to what to say. The question you've just asked. Should we be learning lessons that we should not go back to IMF for their assistance one way or the other? If that's the question, I'm saying that it's a hard lesson to learn. We will not, because IMF is there to help all of us, not just to help poor people, not just to help poor economies, but even America, France, all other developed countries. Once a while, when there is some challenges that they are facing, they will definitely have a conversation with IMF and may need some assistance here and there. It doesn't necessarily mean because you've mismanaged your economy or because you should not have ever had any challenges. That's why you made a mistake. No. Going to the IMF, it depends on what you are going to do. If you are going there and saying, we are broke, give us money, IMF will not tolerate that because it's contribution. You go to IMF when you have a program and you think you need assistance. And that's exactly what this time around
is happening.
Government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has done.
The other side of that Afarijan statement is how pervasive he says corruption has become in the country. And I'll come back to the point of 30 years down the line, we're still talking about how pervasive corruption is. We haven't done well in nipping it in the bud. It has grown into a canker, like you put it.
Yes, I did say that corruption itself is a canker. It eats. Others who have analyzed it and who have observed it and over time made comments on it have talked about Sometimes corruption is so pervasive and so harmful to our economies to the extent that it's about a third of whatever our GDP itself is lost to corruption. It makes people lose confidence in their own economy, that the only way to can go about everything is to find a very bad way of circumventing rules, of avoiding to pay taxes and so forth. It's not good. It distorts the economy of every country. And corruption is not just typical to Ghana. I believe it's all over the world, but more so we, the developing countries. The government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, so far as I am concerned, and as much with all sincerity that I could say this, I've put in more efforts under the Fourth Republic, in fact, the Fourth Republic, to fight corruption than any other government that I can think of. I'm being sincere.
I see.
Why? I'm saying that, how do you fight corruption? It's not vowing to be a saint as an individual, and therefore other people following your examples. And so it's important for you as an individual to set a good example. But the kind of institutions you put in place, kind of policies that you put in place, the policies with emphasis will fight the corruption for you. Digitization is one. This government is pushing digitization to the extent that when you are paying your taxes, you pay it. Sometimes you don't need to have any interface with an individual, but you go and you push in to pay for electricity, to do all that stuff. It's digitized. It's good. This country is going down.
Yeah, hasn't that always been the case?
No, it has not been the case. Sometimes you go to a small hole, pinhole, you pay, somebody gives you a receipt, and it's...
that was a long time ago.
It's been a long time ago. Now we moved away from... But that's not all. This government, democratic institutions like Yoko, have given it more money than this country and other Fourth Republic has ever had. Police have been empowered more than any other government have done, and that is Third and Fourth Republic. The judiciary has been empowered to the extent they've been giving them anything that they need, training and individuals, more employment, more courts than any other government has done, and that the Third and Fourth Republic. That's not all. Any other institution that is supposed to fight corruption in this country has been given assistance, has been given help. Its budget has been approved of, even increased budget.
I see.
That is,
which
I believe
has had
that is the
budget?
best way to fight corruption in our country. Individuals must also make efforts, yes?
Right.
But you can't go into anybody's room, bedroom, to know whether you are corrupt or not. Some other things are done behind the doors. Some are doing DS in the offices. We will not know.
I mean, the flip side of that, you know,
if you have allowed me to finish with that, not only the Attorney General's office has been held, but the Accountant General, the Auditor General, been given a free hand to do whatever it thinks he could do to fight corruption in this public corruption. Particularly.
But it's also under the same administration that we've had a lot of clearing of cases or individuals suspected of corruption here or there. This administration has also cleared quite a number of people, haven't they?
This government, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government, if anybody is accused or there's an allegation of corruption, and it's quite reasonably so that people are talking about it, it's referred to the, let's say, police to investigate. It's referred to Yoko to investigate. If they do investigate, the government is not interfering. It's allowing the law to take its course. It's allowing the young man, or is it special prosecutor,
right,
to do whatever he thinks is right, to have his way, to ensure that he's fighting corruption from his own perspective. But that doesn't mean that the court can't interfere. That doesn't mean that if he has anybody who feels that his rights are being truncated or interfered with, can't go to the court for remedy. If that is done, It's not the fault of government. Government is not interfering in any way.
Well, I'm surprised you're saying this because in the lead up to the 2016 elections, one of the nicknames that the NPP had given then President John Dramani Mahama was that he was a clearing agent. It would seem that the NPP administration and the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo will also fall within that same description of clearing agents.
I want you to be a bit specific with whatever you want to say. If you say, what do you mean by that?
Investigations have happened.
I have not accused.
Investigations have happened, but the people have been cleared at the end of the day.
Well, look here.
So he's also a clearing agent.
No, I wouldn't argue that way. If any investigation had taken place over an accusation, allegation, or some suspicion of somebody having been involved in any conduct that could be described as corrupt practices or under our constitution, and it's referred to the appropriate body, and the investigation takes place, and the person is cleared. Me, here as a lawyer, I will not say that President of the Republic or any person in authority has become a clearinghouse. I've never accused my very good friend, President John Mahama, has constituted himself into a clearing agent. But definitely, I will defend that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has not become a clearing agent in this country for those who are involved in corrupt practices.
Which scandal have we had in this country that has led to prosecution and that has led, well, it has led to prosecution, but has led to conviction?
Well,
even when it seemed as though evidence was clear, critics will say that.
Please. Are you asking me to give you instances where
there has been conviction of any scandal that we have had?
Previous?
Of within this administration, we've had a lot of corruption cases.
We've allegation of corruption.
Allegation of corruption.
If allegation doesn't mean that. I don't believe that, for this conversation, you're assuming that if there is an allegation of corruption against anybody, but there must necessarily...
I am not assuming, but I'm also saying it's very convenient.
There must necessarily be a conviction.
Absolutely.
To convince you that right is being done.
Fair point.
Is that point? Is that your point?
That is not my point. But I say you make a fair argument there. But what I'm driving at is the fact that it's also convenient when every corruption scandal ends up in the suspects being cleared. Isn't it too
I
disturbing?
can't think of, and I am not ready for your program now, to cite examples of what you have alleged as every allegation or instance of corruption, and that has been investigated.
May I give you an example?
Give me an example, I will take you.
Charles Bissiou, who was then secretary, I believe, for the Joint Task Force on Galamsey. When,
be very careful what you want to say.
Hang on.
Yes.
When, that video of him allegedly accepting bribes so people could go and do...
I'm glad you used the word allegedly.
No, hang on.
I'm glad you said...
I'm getting there. So
we are in a period where people even use AI to even make allegation against people.
So you think that Charles Bissiou in that video allegedly accepting bribe was AI?
The Charles Bissiou's issue, I know from close quarters because I know him as an individual, has taken on some of this allegation. He's taken on the director of state prosecution. That's the public prosecutor. The two of them are fighting it out in court.
I see.
He's taking it up and it's before the court. I am not here, sitting here. I can't say that it's an allegation which is true. Indeed, from what I gathered, that there were some people who were after him, and therefore planned it, did it in such a way, even filmed it to make it look like as if he has been involved in it. So as it is, and as I talk to you, I'm aware they are dealing with the state prosecutor, is it the public prosecutor, and they are in court as I talk to you. He's picked up his forms, he's going to Parliament. He's going to, to for primaries,
right.
for Iskadu seat. I believe that at the end of the day, if he's convinced that maybe he's been involved in some very bad corrupt practices, he will not dare have that audacity to go and pick the forms.
Chairman, when we come back, we have a few other issues to discuss as we head into elections 2024. Don't go away. Welcome back to Hot Issues. Frederick Blay is my guest today on the program, and we spent a fair chunk of our first segment on corruption-related issues. One of the things that have come up strongly in the course of the week is what appears to be condoning of open vote buying and vote selling. That is how the former EC chairperson puts it. What's your take on that?
Yes, I think I will agree with him that it's so fortunate that democracy will be undermined. And indeed, if one wants to be objective, that it's becoming a norm that when we are going for election, primaries at party levels, and maybe even towards the national elections, if one is not careful, some people resort to what you refer to as vote buying. Vote buying is not just giving them money, but sometimes going to offer people salt, matches, tinapa, rice, all kinds of very petty items,
right.
and then which is unfortunate. And everybody is worried, and I know in the NPP, people have expressed their disgust and they are annoyed that in some instances, delegates who are going to cast their ballots in favor of a candidate one way or the other at primary level, and not even just to become parliamentary candidates for national elections, but even party officials, executives at both at all levels, from polling stations up to national level, that we've been all involved. In the way. It's something that.
Is the party taking any keen interest in that?
We definitely discussing it at all levels.
Right.
Okay. It's not healthy, and it's not good. It doesn't even help. It works towards people not being interested, but those who are good quality material who could serve the party and serve this nation, whatever position that one can think of, fear to go into because they don't have the kind of money that, if you are not careful, individuals who you doubt even the sources of their money. So what will hijack the system and to the detriment of our national welfare. I think we should all take it seriously. Not at party level. Should
the Electoral Commission be whipping the political parties in line at this point?
If there's anything that they could do, could they lay down the rules are there.
Yes.
It's enforcement. Maybe the only problem. Sometimes, as it's a corruption, it's said that you are not there how you could see people distributing money or people sharing goodies to individuals who matches or whatever, name it, sewing machines and TV sets. Among all the parties, I would say, it's been happening. And I think we should do as much as possible. Statesmen and individuals of goodwill, we should all together, across the parties, make efforts to minimize it if we cannot stamp it totally.
After the NPP's Ofan constituency primaries, the OSP had put up, wanted list of people they said had engaged in vote buying of sorts during the primaries. I mean, how did the party take that?
The party has not issued any statement.
No, the OSP has, but the party hasn't spoken. You're right.
Because if we don't want to interfere with that. We don't want to say that he says he's doing his work and we will either say that we support him or we don't support him. If he thinks he has good reasons to, as it were, conduct investigation into that and come out with his findings and maybe go ahead to prosecute those who are involved, kudos. I think we endorse whatever he does. Corruption in whatever form should be frowned upon. It should not be encouraged.
Okay, so I mean, I want to take you back into time. You have spoken about how people will be given even salt. That could be some kind of wood buying.
I didn't use some few words, some of the other bentra. Because some people use.
Yes.
They could use.
So I want to ask you, Chairman.
Yes.
When you promised 275 buses for the constituencies, was it vote buying?
I did not promise, unfortunately. I did not promise that I'm giving just like that.
Okay.
I'm saying that we want the parties to be independent. We want my party to engage in businesses that will make our party instead of dependent on central government. You'll be independent. And therefore, we go to the bank. Well, the banks were ready to say we will help buy buses, and the buses will be managed and handled by the constituencies. That's what it is. That's
was it vote buying?
It's not vote buying.
But it was in the heat of in the heat of the Congress, wasn't it?
When you are going for election, you only tell the people what you are capable of doing to help the party. What you are capable of doing, not that individuals, I want to give you money. Also, I'm saying, look here, I want the party to be independent, and I believe those. So, and I'm saying the only way to do so is that we will not depend on central government or money banks who will dictate policies and indeed extort some money from us when we find ourselves in power. So let's be independent. We pay dues, not just dues. We undertake, ANC has been doing that. I know many other countries in the world, like in Germany and co, the parties undertake some profit-making businesses.
Okay.
And for that matter, they help themselves.
So where are those buses?
The buses, as I talked, 100 of them are in. We've had run problem with our bankers, the banks who give us money to do that. And because of the COVID time, we had a problem as to whether we could run them because the numbers, we thought the numbers within a bus for a journey, instead of 13, should be reduced to 7. It was not profit making. So we wasted a little time on that. Now that we're ready, the banks are saying that they want the money. So at the moment we are struggling over it. The buses, 100 of them, are in the custody of the bank now.
Oh, that's a shame. So you couldn't fulfill your promise.
We couldn't, as a but we are still pursuing.
So what happened to the $3 million you put down in support of
somebody helped us to put the 3 million down.
Oh, it wasn't from you, because that's the impression.
It's not my money.
Well, you said you have put seed money of $3 million.
Through me, I facilitated it.
Right.
To somebody else helped us. I didn't put the money. I don't have. Some even insulted me that I have 11 million. How did I have it? It's because I was a chairman of GMPC. Maybe I'm going to steal the money. Unfortunately, it was an expression of ignorance. They didn't know who and how we were going to do that. Who is going to help us to do that? The bank was ready. The bank is in existence. They didn't want to be brought up, brought into politics and so forth.
Right.
But
so
definitely,
what's going to happen to that now?
We're talking about it. We've managed to bring it in there. The one who helped us is insisting that you take some interest over it over time. But we are running against time because we are having that kind of problem with the bank.
I see. So,
yes.
But it's
real. People think that you promise that you dash them the buses and so forth from your pocket.
So did you tell Shraj this, that the $3 million wasn't coming from you?
Shraj didn't even bother to find out whether the buses have been brought in my name or through the banks or through some kind of company.
Because you refused to comply. That's what I
did. They want to court. I said, how do you call on me when I'm not as an individual bringing it out and so on. So we were battling it over in court. The court, of course, dismissed the application. But
I see.
Said it is a reality. Let your listeners know that I did not put my hand in my pocket to cough the 3 billion to bank. It was 11 million. Yes. The banks were going to do that. A bank agreed, looked at the proposal, and thought it was a very reasonable proposal.
It would then appear that the minorities backing that they suspected you of corrupt practices at the GMPC fell into water.
Hot air. And sometimes it's convenient for them to do that. That's why I'm saying you should be a bit careful when, for example, you mention Bisu's name that has been involved in corruption. And as I said, I know him very well. I will be careful in describing what is done as having been involved in corruption.
So who are those who gave you the $3 million?
I will prefer not to talk about it on your show. Yes, but definitely a good friend of ours did that. Yes. So
anyway, let's move away from the buses. Your time at GMPC has also been characterized by a lot of allegations of corruption.
I'm not aware what kind of corruption of the...
When the Petro SA deal came up, there were questions as to what your interest was in pushing that deal. We also know about the GMPC Gensa deal. What really is going on at GMPC?
I don't know much of Gensa because I was not too much involved in it. But Gensa, I believe, was not also a question of corruption.
Did you review that deal?
We didn't review it because it was okay. There was nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
As I said, it was a question of an approach. Some other proposal came in later, whether we should rather continue with it. But we had already penned our signature to it. And Gensa was insisting that we should go on. I think some kind of understanding had been reached, but there was nothing like any corrupt practices on the part of officers of GMPC.
But the CSOs had said that the deal was not good for the country.
Well, they had an opinion. That one I can't fault their opinion. But definitely if they had taken good time to look at it, in the same way that they talked about, South African matter, when they had no idea what it was all about.
We'll get into Petro SA, but
that's right. So it's all linked. So the CSO, they could have an opinion and maybe absolutely wrong. That's all.
Okay, so let's talk about that deal. How much have we made from the GMPC Gensa gas deal?
Well, it's not yet implemented.
It's not yet implemented.
Yes, they are building the pipelines and trying to, as it were, I can't say for sure, but very soon it will. They put in as much as over $500 to $600 million.
The $500 to $600 million is coming from GMPC,
not from Gensa.
I see.
Yes.
Is GMPC making any monetary, commitment or
no? GMPC is not making, but the gas, we are the aggregators. We have the gas, and therefore, because the gas is given to us by our partners who are mining or, as it were, pumping the gas from their operations, and then we take it and give it back to Gensa and any other. But of course, sometimes we use it our own self. We could we could get to Ghana gas, but as the Ghana gas may not be ready presently to make use of the gas. So Gensa is ready, and they signed that we should give it to them.
Well, so the thing that the CSOs had problem with is the fact that the discounted rates to Gensa.
I think they had it totally wrong. They had it totally wrong. We looked at it.
So the rate is not discounted to
to Gensa.
The gas rates are not discounted to Gensa.
No, they are not. They are not. I think they got it wrong.
Oh, I see. We'll see what happens when the entire deal comes to fruition. We'll put Gensa on the table. Let's talk about Petro SA. Petro SA is one of those that got you really famous.
Infamous.
Infamous, absolutely.
Put it the way you want to.
Infamous is the right word.
The right word.
Yes. So Petro SA deal is one of those that got you infamous.
That's right.
As board chair of GMPC.
That's right.
Why were you so insistent?
What did I insist on? Please, as I said, I wish we could have more time to discuss this, because at some stage I was told, take it easy, don't discuss too many things to the public of Absalom. You don't do business. Business concerns money, and sometimes money prefer to operate in silence.
So tell us what we do not know.
What you don't know is this. Petro SA is a partner among a couple of companies that are involved in tallow, you know, in the operations of tallow. There are other 2 or 3 companies who are involved in it. They are all partners. One of them decided that I'm no more interested and I want to sell my, my shares as my operations within the what we have come together to any of you who will be interested in it. They've already signed some kind of understanding that if, in fact, it's common practice that me and you, we set up a company and you want to give out your shares. You give me the option of first refusal. It's typical in common law that people do that. Then Petro SA insisted that they should have the first refusal to buy whatever the other company was. I don't want to mention some of their names because I don't want to discuss that one into details. That's what they decided to do. And then we in Ghana decided that we are buying it ourselves instead of you petroleum. And indeed, we even entered into some kind of, but there are other contracts that they had already signed. In one instance, the one who is selling is saying that, look, if you buy it, you should take care of or take charge to deal with all other people who makes any claim over what I'm selling to you. It's a bit complicated, but they did it cleverly. Now Ghana decides to buy it. Petro SA said that I have the right of it. Ghana was not even, Ghana has only a carrying interest, and it's not party to the agreement that we signed among ourselves. And for that matter, we have a priority. So they first said it. Before me, I came into, they agreed with us that we should discuss it. And we said that, look, instead of you taking it all, my proposal, which we went up and take it 50 and let us all take it 50, the proposal, with the consent of the minister. That is what the discussion is going on.
I see. But the minister says he didn't give consent for that.
I'm saying that it had not, we had not put any...
You had not got to that point.
To that point.
I see.
And yet people started accusing me.
It wasn't just people. The minister himself had also said that...
I don't want to go there.
Why not?
Please, I would prefer not to discuss that. But it was unfortunate that anybody will accuse me involved in it of having done anything wrong.
I see. The minister had gone all the way to write to the president that...
As I said, I prefer not to talk about it now.
What's your relationship with?
I don't want to discuss that. I prefer not to say that it was unfortunate that anybody will write that you are involved in anything untoward or you'll be involved in. Maybe if you are not careful, you may even say that involved in corrupt practices because no, there's nothing wrong. And indeed, at the end of the day, even the Attorney General wrote that the position I took was right. But as it is, let's put it somewhere else.
When we come back, let's talk about the NPP. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hot Issues. My guest today, if you're just joining us, you've missed much of the conversation with Freddie Blay. He is former chairperson of the NPP, and he's currently the board chair for GNPC. Let's talk about the party you were once chairman for. We are still waiting for that big announcement when, you know, the flag bearer announces the running mate. So as a member of the NEC and the National Council, what are those things that you'd look out for in the name that is brought to you?
You're going for an election, and the presidency wants somebody who will also contribute towards the winnability of the ticket. And you look at it, where he's coming from, who is the person is, it's his age, his affability, what will he try to plug in where the president himself be short of. Will he be an economist? No, the president may be more has inclined towards economy. So will the other person also do that, or more governance? These are some of the considerations. But as I said, it's an elbow room for the president to come out with someone he feels at it. But of course, having done that, you bring it to the National Council, and the National Council will discuss that.
So I'm just wondering, again, trying to go into the mind of the National Council, is there a list of criteria that, you know, if person A is brought to you, you would measure by and say, well, this person would get us where we want to go to?
To be very honest with you, there isn't any set down criteria that the party will go by. But these are people, National Council members are very experienced individuals, knowledgeable. But the first thing is that the person's loyalty towards the party is the first thing. Because whatever happens, the president should be loyal. And you, the vice, should also be loyal to the party. You don't want to bring anybody who will think on his own. That I came there by just the choice of the president. And for that matter, I don't care more about the party. Members of the council thinking as a macrocosm of the party itself should be at ease and have respect and like the person that will be brought to be the alter ego of the president. And I think it is important that the president, that's the vice president, who is now
the flag bearer,
our flag bearer, and aiming to be the president, which I think should have somebody that please the party as well.
I see.
But above all, the person should be extremely knowledgeable and honest, humble, for people to link up and easily associate with. And Ghanaians should like the person as well.
Oh, Ghanaians must like the person.
Of course, yes. That's what is all politics about. Electoral policy.
I don't know how strong that is. I mean, at the time Dr. Bawumia came into the picture, we didn't even know him.
Yes, but we didn't know him, but we grew to like him because within a very short time, we got to know him. That he's a very amiable, likable, extremely knowledgeable.
So someone with high likability.
That's right.
I see. I want us to touch a bit more on happenings within the party. Has the National Council perhaps assessed why your MPs have decided that they wouldn't be going in the 2024 elections? 18 of them.
You mean we should assess it? I don't understand.
Have you tried to analyze why?
Well, after the analysis, individuals have analyzed some of these things. One, from my perspective, and not that of, I can't say so for every other person.
Oh, no, but as a collective,
yes.
Has the party National Council looked into that matter? I mean, why are these people going?
No, but they are only about 18. It's not a very high rate of attrition. It's only 18. And some of them have been there for, one person at least, I'm aware, have been there for over 28 years.
Isn't that the problem? The fact that you're losing that experienced hand, the person who brings clout to Parliament.
I will have preferred, I prefer experience. I was in Parliament for 3 terms, and I went out. I was pushed out. I went out. Let me put it that way.
What do you mean by you were pushed out?
Yes, lost the election.
You lost the election.
Yes,
you were not pushed out.
So let's make it that way. But some were saying that I've been 3 consecutive terms. You are Mugabe. It's a Lemble Mugabe that you've been there for too long. But now some others have been there for, let's say, 28 years. So it's now accepted. 16, 20, 24 years, and 28 years. Now, and these are strongholds, invariably. And if they decided to move, I think it gives room for others to also come up. But I agree with you that experience is good. There was a senator in the US who has been there for 50 years. You can imagine. Quite recently, a lady, also a senator, also gave up.
But that's why I'm asking.
But you see, one very important thing about electoral politics, about democracy, is that you go for election. and therefore it's not a place where you go and then you stay there for life. You must test and test over time. 4 years.
So what I'm hearing, what I'm gleaning from what you have said is the party is not particularly looking at these people that have left.
Yes.
Because it's not a high attrition rate.
It's not a high attrition rate.
They're
only 80. And mind
so the party doesn't see it as a problem at all.
Well, of course it is a problem for people, for party to lose experienced hands. But if they've decided to go, what can you do? You can't persuade them that they should stay against their will. But besides that, I'm saying nobody forced any of them to leave. They themselves said, I'm tired. 28 years, I'm tired, I want to leave. Another 24 years, I know somebody 20. Somebody even 8 years says, look, I've had enough, I want to leave. I think we should give them the comfort of that option.
In recent history, the NPP took the lead in seeking redress from the courts as far as elections are concerned. One of the things that we've seen or we've heard recently is the fact that frivolous election petitions should have punitive action. Is that the way to go?
I don't agree. Well, punitive action may be the cost. You may be mocked at the cost. But punitive action, what do you criminalize or what? Or you should be asked to...
For wasting the court's time.
It's always been that judges may be hard on you. They may say that don't bring frivolous applications, or sometimes in some past, sometimes some individuals are banned from coming up. They become vexatious litigants. You stop them from always coming to court with all kinds of... but you know what? This is a democracy, and you should not truncate people's right, the access to the court for whatever frivolous. It's better for them to bring frivolous election than to curtail them from bringing some application that may turn out to be very important and akin to human rights.
I see. While we're on the subject of elections, I do want to ask you about the 2020 elections, events in Techiman that have resurfaced, you know, in our polity. A number of people were shot and killed in that elections in Techiman. Why does it seem as though there hasn't been any interest to bring perpetrators to book under this administration?
Well, I don't speak for the Attorney General Department and prosecutors and so forth, but you know what? It's not new. I don't want to use that as an example of, because it's not new, we should also, but I believe 1 or 2 or 3 people might have been shot in Techiman.
8 of them.
8. I'm not sure of the numbers, but definitely...
Is that, you're not sure because the number is too high to believe, isn't it?
I would say that the number quite staggering.
Yes, 8 people, including teenagers.
Yes, that's unfortunate. It shouldn't have happened. And I don't know what is holding back the prosecution from going ahead, but I wish we should speed it up because it's better. It's a blot in our, credentials towards democracy and so forth. But mind you, it's not the only prosecution that had been stalled over time. I do remember that when we were in opposition, we went to the Upper East for a by-election. We were assaulted brutally. Me personally, with others, were assaulted brutally. We reported the matter. Police took, They took statements from us, and that's the end of it. And nothing had been done about it. Even in our time, nothing had been done about it. There had been instances of that nature, but I would prefer that the AG's department will act expeditiously and bring, people who are culprits.
I don't know, but I don't think that that's a matter the AG is looking into.
I can't speak for or against whatever it is, but as I said, the police should finish with the investigation and bring it up.
But it's been 3 long years.
I'm saying there had been instances in our time where I personally brutalized. Some people were beaten mercilessly. We know those who did it. We reported it to the police. The police did very little about it up till now. But maybe over time, we swept it under, under the bridge. But these things, such instances, we must, 8 people haven't lost their life. We should not take it for granted.
I see. So I do want to see, you were in Parliament for 3 terms. You say you left in 2008.
Yes.
Tell us what you think about the current Parliament. The Parliament of today.
It's interesting. I think it's one of the most interesting times of our political development. And Parliament, I sit back and I'm amused by this. Indeed, it makes Parliament very, very important. It's not one-sided. It's balanced. And in spite of its difficulty, that's why I will praise the President for his conduct of affairs, governance in this country. That in spite of the difficulty that is facing in Parliament, in spite of
what's the difficulty?
The difficulty that even the government's budget itself sometimes stand the rest of being thrown out. Sometimes not
for good reason.
No, what for good reason?
Well,
not
if the finance minister has
on partisan basis.
No, if the finance
nothing
minister,
else apart from that.
Is it?
If
the finance minister has snuck taxes into the budget, the minority on the other hand should be able to...
That's right. The minority decide that sometimes if you don't take this one off, it's like in America at the moment. It's almost a hung parliament, and the minority, I'm talking about Republicans, gives her to government. Sometimes it's almost runs to a halt, literally to a halt. And that's what has been happening to Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government. But irrespective of that, we're still marching on. Things are going on. This country, we are not at blows. We try to induce the NDC towards democracy, although they have a history of violence, a history of anti-democracy, a history they call it revolution. A history no, that's not it. But we are trying to induce them that they should, the gap of fighting, the gap of shooting, going with cutlasses. When people go on demonstrate, they say they should come with cutlasses and so forth. We should put it aside and move on toward democracy.
That's not a fair statement to the NDC. It's not a fair statement to the NDC, and seeing that
the cutlasses?
They are not here to respond.
I'm glad that they are not here, but I'm taking the advantage to just, you give me the platform. That's what I'm saying. We are trying to induce them to march towards the road of democracy.
Well, they would say that is what you had us believe, but the true Buga people are really the NPP.
Are you saying so? Do you believe so?
Well, we have seen what the NPP, under the NPP administration, has happened to demonstrators. We have seen what has happened to journalists. We have seen...
How old are you?
We have...
It means that when you were a little guy when the NDC was me, I would put in prison for at least a year. The NDC. And it's PNDC. They've done that. But my friends were maimed, some beaten, some disappeared. PNDC, NDC. That's what they did. But we are living with that.
We've come a long way since then.
We've come a long way. So we still want to drag them to come along. And they need more time. More time in the, they should stay out of power and let's, establish the culture of democracy. And then their DNA should change a bit.
While we're on the subject of Parliament,
that's right.
We've seen verbal spats between the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Sumana Bakbin, and the President, Nana Dankwa.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's part of democracy.
Is it?
We should have it. It's okay. I read it and I'm a little amused about us. But it's okay. I know Albert Barbin, we were in Parliament together. The President also was in Parliament with him. So these are friendly hostilities. Let's continue with that. But
it would appear that it will stall, or it is stalling, really important bills in Parliament.
Well, what do you... Listen.
Criminal Offences Amendment Bill have not been assented to because of that.
Yeah, but the President has a right to sometimes ask Parliament, hasten slowly. The Latin word is festina lente, hasten slowly. These are checks and balances that you could come out with a bill And me, I will look at it soberly and say, no, this one maybe you made it, you are too much. Popular majorities can make mistake. Excuse me. Popular majorities can make mistake. Parliament can make mistake as well. In the same way that president could. So president says that it's checks and balances. You've come out with your bill. I've looked at it and I say, please, let's look at it from this way. And I think it's unconstitutional. Take a look at it. I'm advised by my Attorney General and officers that there is a problem here. Look at it again.
As the Chairman, you have had you have had an explanation and a reason for untoward conduct of the administration. Is that something that this government of the day has done or is doing that you wish they were not doing?
There could be more, but I'm not here to sit with you so that my criticism of my own government, it is not my style to come and sit here and say that I'm criticizing government for this and that. There are quite a number of things that, look, no, quite a number of things that I may not be very happy with, but that's between us. No, I will not discuss it here.
Why not?
But
it's
definitely,
only, that is public service. If you're able to openly criticize your government and say that
I could,
you should be doing this better.
And the right circumstances, I would do that. If you ask me, if you invite me here to come and talk about conduct of government, what has happened? What do you think of your government of this? Maybe another.
Well, that's what I'm
time.
asking. So what do you?
It's not today. We will discuss it and we won't finish.
No, just one.
But,
I mean, what the conduct of the administration? What is it that is happening now that you are not happy with? You wish was done better.
Prosecution should have gone on faster. We're late over that. See, we've also, the road, we spent so much doing more roads earlier on. We should have paced ourselves out a bit because now people need more roads towards the election. And we should have paced ourselves to now. It's now pressing too much. Everybody is asking. Although this government had done more roads than any other government within the third and fourth, but people are still asking for more. They are never satisfied. It's like a Louis Vuitton. They will ask for more. We should have paced ourselves. We overran it, and then COVID and all other things that people say we should not talk about have come in, and therefore it's affected us a little negatively. But government should also do more telling the country what they have done, not what we have not done.
We'll see about that. Thank you for sitting with us.
Thank you too.
Freddie Blay is my guest today on Hot Issues. You may know him as Freddie Blay, one-time chairman of the NPP and now GNPC board chairman. I am Kemeni Amano. I hope you enjoyed our episode. I'll see you same time next week. Bye-bye.